So the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo is moments away now. It doesn't seem like it's already here, but it is. Starts December the 5th. And joining me is a man who I don't know if I should say what I'm about to say, Jess Pope, but if you have a favorite place to go to a rodeo, it might be the Wrangler NFR, not just because it's where world champions are crowned, but you've had a lot of good luck in that building through the years, right?
Yeah, I have. I've been very fortunate with how the NFR's treated me the last 4 years. Won the average three times, won second in it once, and really looking forward to going back to it. It's just something about leaving home, going out there, riding for big money, and I mean, 15 best guys are there, and when they're all ginning, it just makes me want to win just a little bit more.
Yeah. I'm a little hesitant to say what I'm about to say, but you've never gotten bucked off in that building. You're 40 for 40 in that building so far in your career.
Yeah, it's been good. I don't know. I just go in and treat it one horse at a time, and uh, my college rodeo coach Ken Mason, ever since he's been helping me even through high school. It's this horse doesn't know who you are. You got to show up and show out, and don't take no for an answer. And so that's how I go about it. And um, I've had one bobble there, which was my own fault because I was trying to win and dang near bucked myself off. But I'm not going to hang my head about it. I was trying to win. If I would have went out there and rode her for what she was, and I'd have been looking back and thinking, man, I probably should have tried something a little bit different.
Yeah. Was that on Gunfire last year?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
I was swinging for the stars. Keenan was right there, and she flipped over on my rigging like two horses before I got on, and so that kind of had me wound up, and I lost quite a bit of my focus. I was pretty wound up, and just in that situation, and just got caught trying to win. So it is what it is.
Yeah, that I think of my list of 40 out of 40, that was the 40th horse, if I remember right. 10th go round at the NFR last year. What, 78, 78 and a half, something like that. It was, I remember us all thinking, oh, Jess is on Gunfire. But like Ken Mason told you, the horse doesn't know you. Donnie Gay always says the horse can't read your gold buckle, or in Donnie's case, the bull. But there is something to be said for that attitude that you just got to go at them horse by horse.
Yeah, just one at a time. I mean, really, bucking horse riding's pretty simple. As long as you can stay out of your own way, it's show up and do your job.
Yeah. How have you changed through the years and all of your success? I remember, I think the first time you and I ever shook hands, Jess, I think, was in Arizona on the 4th of July, maybe like back in 2019. You were traveling with Tim O'Connell,
Yep.
Rodeo and Prescott. And Tim at that time said to me, you got to meet this guy I'm traveling with. He's going to be a world champion someday. And he was right. Um, how have you changed through the years in your writing style and your approach, or have you very much?
I haven't tried to change anything. I've had a couple small injuries that I've had to maneuver around, just do stuff a little bit different. But from traveling to going to the rodeos and stuff, if I've got a good shot to win, I'm going to show up and compete. And anymore is the way the talent level is. I can look through a trades list and um, pretty well tell if I'm going to win a check or not. And sometimes I'm wrong, sometimes I'm right. But if I sure look like I'm riding for eighth or ninth place, and I've got to spend a bunch of money, I'm probably going to stay home.
Yeah. Um, that's the one thing I feel like if you think I'm completely nuts on what I'm about to say, tell me. I feel like you've gotten to that point where you're able to be a little bit more selective, and you maybe don't go to all the rodeos you might have once upon a time, and you're still able to hit the gas if you need to toward the end of the year. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, you are. I mean, it's just like anything. I've sharpened my craft. I know where, what I can win on. I know how I ride and stuff like that. So, um, like I said, if I ain't got a shot, I'm not going to go. But with age and with knowledge comes a lot of things. And not saying that I know everything, but I've learned a lot since my rookie year in 2019.
Yeah. Um, Let me ask you one more question. I mentioned Tim O'Connell earlier. I feel like Tim's had the opportunity through his career to be a real positive influence, not just on you, but on some other guys too.
Yeah, he's got a really good attitude. The guy knows how to win. He grew up with the wrestler deal. He's from Iowa. They're just all a little wired, just a little bit different up there. But he's definitely a true winner and an inspiration. And that was when I had the opportunity to get in the rig with him, I definitely was not going to let that go. And I'm very grateful for that I did that. He's taught me how to rodeo. Pretty well everything I know about it, everything I said just a minute ago, all come out of Tim's mouth pretty much. But
Yeah.
he's definitely done a very good job of giving back to the youth, helping younger guys and stuff. And I don't know, just pretty good guy.
My friend Ted Harbin sent out a press release, and the headline on the press release about you is "Late Heroics Propel Pope to the NFR." And he starts this way: "The edge is a tricky place to be. One step in the right direction can build confidence and sustain hope. One awkward step can spell disaster." You went into the month of September 16th in the PRCA's world standings. I saw you and I remember talking in June at Battleborn Bronx in Nevada, and you were farther down than 16th at that time. From the beginning of September to the end of September, winning Ellensburg and winning big money in Puyallup and winning big money in the Badlands helped, obviously, but you jumped from 16th to 6th. That was a heck of a month of September.
Yeah, it really was. But this rodeo year was just really funny for me. My drawing skills were not the greatest, and and I'd draw something that I thought, man, I got a really good shot to win a good check on here, and something funny would happen. He'd stumble or wouldn't have his day, and it was just kind of one of those deals. And I went all through July. I was discouraged, didn't want a rodeo anymore. I was ready to go home, and but pushed through it. Had enough, I had a really good set of people behind me pushing me. But August hit. I had a really good first weekend, didn't win a dime the second weekend, a really good third weekend, and then the fourth weekend, it was like, wow, this kind of stinks again. And then once September hit, though, I started drawing really good. And the biggest deal when you draw them, you got to use them. And I felt like I
Yeah.
took advantage of every situation that was put in front of me. And that's the reason I made the NFR.
Can I ask you about two specific rides in the month of September? You were 92 and a half on Disco Party in Puyallup. That was worth $13,000. Tell me about that horse.
It's a really special horse. I've been on that horse 3 times now. I got on her at the American, I think 2 years ago, and I had food poisoning. I was back there getting IVs in the locker room and puking my guts out. Tim and I think it was Orrin Larson put my rigging on for me because I couldn't even pull my rigging. All I could do was run my hand in and like to puked in the arena when I got off. I was just gassed. And then I got on her at Ellensburg the week or 2 weeks before. Puyallup, and I ended up winning Ellensburg on her. So I was really excited to have her again. That's a very special and unique animal, that's for sure.
It's nice when you don't have to ride with a stomach ache.
Yeah, dang sure, especially on that one.
Yeah. The Cinch Playoff Series Championships in the Governor's Cup in Sioux Falls. You were 86 and a half on Hell's Fire. That was worth 9,600. And then you jumped out in the championship round and rode Lunatic Heaven for 88 and a half. And that put you in this spot where you're in the number 6 spot in the world standings. You won almost $40,000 out of Sioux Falls. That's if you can that deal right there is nice work if you can get into it.
Yeah, dang sure. That was the nice thing. I knew going into Puyallup I needed to do good, but I also knew off of tour points that I was going to get into Sioux Falls anyways. And last year I got into it and I didn't win a single dime out of that place. And so I was a little discouraged. I showed up my first round horse and I didn't win a check. And I thought, oh, this is the same story again. And got to crunching numbers and realized that I was on the bubble pretty bad. And so I called Tim and we kind of put a game plan together of what I was going to have to do and needed to do. And right before we got off the phone call, he told me, he said, Joseph, just go win. That's what you're there to do. And, it's all I could think about and get on Lunatic Heaven or not Lunatic Heaven, the other one, for the second round and ended up winning it. And then after that, it just kind of built a fire under me I just needed to finish the year off the best that I could. And that was kind of icing on the cake.
Yeah. The second round horse was a birch horse called Hell's Fire.
Yep.
And then Lunatic Heaven in the championship round, which is a lunatic French colt, right? You drew a couple of pretty good ones. That's a Brookman horse, Lunatic Heaven, but you drew that horse must have had an exceptional trip on that day.
She did. She was really, really good. I was the first guy out of the gate, and I I just had the mentality to let it all hang out and go in, and I kind of got caught right at the end, a little bit out of time with her, and so I was sweating bullets for the next three guys. It was Rocker and Cole Reiner and Waylon Bourgeois, and, but it ended up working out to get the
Yeah.
win, and I was really happy with that.
Rocker and Cole and Wade. There's nothing about those guys to make you sweat, is there?
They all ride pretty stinking good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm joking when I say that, obviously. Um, so have we're getting ready now for the National Finals Rodeo. You're spending as much time, if not more, worrying about being a cattleman than you are a bareback rider right now. I think I can say that fairly, aren't I? How is your one of the questions we all get stuck in a rut, I think, asking a little bit, but it's kind of interesting, I think, in your case, is what do you do to get ready to go to Las Vegas? Is there a bunch of extra time in the gym? Are there some practice horses, or are you so busy being a rancher that um, you haven't done all that kind of fun stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I make sure I have to dedicate time to it. Like I know rodeo is my full time job, and that's what makes me a living. Then it's going to set me up to be, or I can be a full time rancher when I'm done. But I mean, pretty well every morning. It's the wife and I run into the high school and work out. Get up 4:45 and go do that, and then that kind of sets me up to where I can have the rest of the day to get stuff done. Once November hits, I'll start riding the spur board. Through month of October, though, I try to forget everything about
Hmm.
rodeo. And then I went to the Hondo Rodeo this year and got along good there. I felt really good. And I'm going to go to Freedom, Oklahoma, down to Heath Stewart's on this Sunday and get on a couple practice horses. And then it's pretty well headed to NFR.
So I've never been smart enough to understand exactly what you guys look for in a practice horse. What do you want for a practice horse? I'm guessing you don't want, the eliminator. I don't know. What do you want to get on? Are there some? So if you're going to Heath's place, you're going to Frontier. You got a lot of horses to choose from. What do you want to get on for a practice horse?
It depends on the circumstance. Like before the NFR, I'm just trying to get on something really nice. Nothing that's, I mean, something that's going to test me a little bit, but nothing that's really bucking hard to where it's going to sore me up. Just to feel good when I go in there, make sure all of my fundamentals are right. And really, when you get on a bucking horse, all you're doing is checking to make sure that you're doing your fundamentals right on the spur board. Because when you get on, it's all just blackout and muscle memory at that point in time. I think, like I know Coach Mason and I talk a lot about. He doesn't try to keep just all fluffy hoppers in the practice pen there, just because it's a test to see if you're getting along good. You're going to have something that's kind of out of line and kind of nasty to get on, just because you're going to get on them at the rodeos. And if you're doing stuff right, you ought to be able to ride him there and go from there. But it's just a different kind of confidence type deal to go into the NFR. 'Cause you're not supposed to get on a bunch of just nasty out of
Yeah,
line stuff there.
yeah. How how much are the bareback riders involved in the? I've heard a couple of different versions of the story, but you guys have a lot to do with the selection of horses and even placing them in the pens right during the National Finals Rodeo, don't you?
Yeah, so we started like the last week, October, the top 15 guys, all the horses nominated, we go through and we pin everything how we think it should be. Um, LVE has the last say. It's got to go. There's an advisory board that they look over all the rough stock stuff, and they do a really good job. Make sure we're making the right decisions. There was a couple horses that they didn't like that got cut off, and a couple that were put on. And at that point in time, you're splitting hairs.
Yeah. How many horses do you start with? Because I know every stock contractor every year feels like they had one or two that maybe could have gone, and a lot of times they'll just say, "Yeah, I didn't really think that one would go." But how many horses did you start with to narrow it down to the best 100 in the world?
There was over 300, and we got
Wow,
to get it to 105.
wow.
So
Um, there's a lot of good horses out there.
yeah, dang sure, and it's kind of hard too. Like when you go to picking those horses, you're looking to see who's been on them, where they went all summer, what horses they were matched up against, what arenas they're in and stuff. And so it's gets pretty difficult. There's some horses that probably could be or are better, but we didn't see them in the right places, so they had the wrong guys on them and stuff. And so it gets really difficult.
Yeah, Jess. Let me ask you before I let you go, and I promised you I'd keep you for 15 minutes or so, but um, the state of bareback riding today, my sense is that when you were coming around, when you were a rookie back in right before COVID hit, that the numbers were, to be honest, a little bit down. The talent level was exceptional, but the actual physical numbers of bareback riders were down. And over the last 3 or 4 years, there has been a real talented crop of young guys, and the numbers are swelling in the bareback riding. Am I correct in that evaluation, or am I off?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've got good numbers coming up. I think our talent level is getting a lot better too as young kids coming in. You know, it used to be it wasn't uncommon for a guy to make his first NFR when he was 24. It took that much
Mhm.
time to develop and learn how to win. And we're seeing that a lot younger now, which is really interesting. I think a lot to do with that is our horses have gotten a lot better. Guys have started realizing we don't want to get on, horses that are run bucking, and they're developing the younger kids with nice hoppers that they can learn on, learn how to spur on, and there's just more money all the way around in rodeo
Yeah.
now. So it's making kids want to go rodeo, and I don't know, it's really interesting to see, and with the sport evolving, I think it's only going to get better and better.
Yeah. Um, $33,000 go rounds and an $86,000 average this year. I mean, Richie Champion's coming in number 15, and if he hits a hot streak, he's going to be a threat to walk away with the gold buckle. It's anybody's ball game with that much money, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And, it's been that way for quite a few years now, but with it adding more and more money, and there's more and more money throughout the season. I mean, it took I can't remember how much Richie won, is 120 some thousand. My rookie year in 2019, I want to say it only took like 58,000 or something like
Yeah.
that to make the NFR. So that's a big increase in dollars, and it makes the race tighter. There's more rodeos that add that kind of money, and when everybody splits off going to different things, it's going to make it better.
To answer your question, Richie won $128,964. His second straight year of going in the number 15 spot. And we talked about this at the Cowboy Channel the other day, and I forget, it's either 11, I want to say it's $17,000 more this year that Richie had one going into the NFR than he has one going into the NFR than he had last year. And you're right. I remember not that many years ago, a guy could, if you had $100,000 won by the beginning of September, you could take the rest of the year off. You had it made. Can't do that anymore.
Mm. No, I mean, you pretty well got to have 175 to 200 one by that
Yeah.
point in time to just take the whole month off and be safe.
Yeah. Jess Pope is a 3-time NFR average winner. The one year he didn't win the average, he finished second. World champion in 2022. That is still just got to be one of the greatest years of your life with what you did at the national finals that year and walking away with that gold buckle. And I got a funny feeling you're going to show up on a lot of people's pro fantasy rodeo teams coming up as we get ready for the national finals rodeo. I don't know. Do you hear that? Hey, you're on my fantasy team. You're good. You get that a lot?
Oh yeah, and everybody don't mess up, blah blah. And I just tell them, you guys worry about doing the math, and I'll worry about riding the bucking horse. Quit worrying
Yeah.
about me.
Yeah.
So
Okay, here's my last question, and it's either the best or the worst question in the interview. I'm not sure which. If it's the 10th round this year, and you've been here before and done that, you got to make a big ride. Is there one horse out of the pen you'd like to pluck?
I mean, yeah, there'll be there in every pin. There's a top and a bottom. Without looking at the list, I don't know. I couldn't really tell you which one it would be off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
dang sure. I don't know. I'm Give me the best one I can get on, and I'm going to go try to win and see what happens. I'm going to treat it just like the first round rather than the 10th round.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Jess, I always appreciate your time. It's been just from the outside looking in, it's been such a pleasure to watch how quickly you have taken on the mantle of being one of our superstars. I was entered when I see Jess at a rodeo, I introduce him as the Wizard of Waverly, and he really has become you become one of the signature guys in this sport in the bareback riding, and you will be for a lot of years to come, I hope. And good luck in Las Vegas.
Yeah, thank you very much.